Hello, Afie.
Hey, how's it going, Terry?
Very well. Are you truly on the other? I'm in the News Bay, Vancouver Island. Are you in the Maritimes?
I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia,
We
and
are
loving every minute of it.
we are on opposite coasts.
Yes, sir, coast to coast, like butter on toast.
Now, uh, once again, I will do this for every release that I hear. Congratulations on the
Thank
new
you.
music and,
Thank you. I
going
appreciate it.
going going through the fire again, pulling these words and these feelings and these admissions and laying them out for all of us to have a look at and snicker at and go, oh, I've been there. I understand that.
Sure.
Which I think is one of the attractions of what you do, listening to your music.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just always trying to get closer to the source, So I'm quite excited about these new songs, and I think they're some of the most to the point and close to the bone songs that I've ever written, and they mean a lot to me, and I hope they sort of reach people in a good way.
Of course they do. It will take them a while to maybe, because there's no metaphors in there. I don't see any metaphors. Are you dealing in metaphors anymore?
No, generally not. I mean, I sort of try and um, I sort of just like to speak in plain English, Don't try not to use too much flowery language just in my day-to-day dialogue. I try to just speak plainly about how I'm feeling and what I think, and I think the music just sort of reflects that.
I referenced, because of the Zoom connection, I referenced Own Alone.
Hmm.
Too broke to feel, oh gosh, what was I can't read my writing. Too broke to feel so
So
wealthy.
wealthy.
Yeah, so wealthy. Too young to feel unhealthy. Too old to understand the selfie. I love that. And too far gone for you to help me.
Yeah.
Do you start with one word and then build up from there? It's like a Lego?
Yeah, generally. Sometimes I'll just have an idea for a song. Like, on my last record, I had this idea, "Bad Boys Need Love Too," and I like that. That was just an idea. I wasn't sure what the song was about, and then it took me a while, and I figured out it was about my father and my relationship with him and everything. But sometimes it starts like that, and then other times it just starts just like you're saying. I'll just have a line that I think is cool. It just sounds cool to say it or to sing it. And it's just about sort of cracking the code. It's really fun. Like, that's the fun part of the job, is sort of putting that puzzle together. And it's frustrating at times, but it when it comes together like that, it really is rewarding. And this song is, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. It's hard to sing about modernity. It's hard to sing about the time we live in,
Yeah.
and make it poetic and make it musical and make it engaging. It's almost like being too honest or earnest about how we're living our life these days, which is pretty based on technology. People have a hard time hearing that. So I was kind of determined to sing about that in some way, and this song definitely references that.
It's so good to talk to you. The last time,
Likewise.
the last time I saw you, you were wheeling around, I think your 3-year-old, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
in Vancouver. How old are the kids now?
I have two daughters, and one's almost 6, and the other's almost 4.
Did
But
you have to think
as they
did
like
you
to
have to
correct
think
me
about
all the
that? Did you
time.
have to think about the ages?
No, I just was gonna say that they like to remind me that, no, Daddy, I'm 5.5. No, Daddy, I'm 3.5. They're still at that age where that half means a lot to them, and so I would like to respect that.
Are you safe and well? And how did you explain these 6 months, 8 months to your kids?
I mean, there wasn't much explanation necessary. I mean, they're still young enough where you know, they're truthfully they're in paradise right now. I mean, I was just talking with someone else before this call about this subject, and I was telling them how, when I have a problem, when I have a something that I need to overcome, I always think that, okay, well, I'll just work harder, or I'll make more money, or I'll do more, I'll take on more projects, I'll do this. It never would have dawned on me to do less. It never would have dawned on me to stop doing almost everything. And I know it's been harder on some than others, but for me and my family, it's actually just been, it's probably shaping up to be the best year ever. We've spent so much time together, and I'm here to cook breakfast for my kids every day. I make them dinner every night, and we're outside every day. We live we live on the ocean, and we're in the woods and in the water, and you know, for them, it's I've probably spent more time with my kids in the last 6 months than I have in the last 3 years, you know?
If you homeschooled, were you the math teacher? What did you teach?
I was more like teaching them how to hop fences and like spray graffiti on trains and start fires and
things
stuff like
they can
that.
use in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll probably grow up to call me Dennis the Menace, you know?
Did me no good. I went back and played it quite a number of times. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you, well, I should be able to tell you why, but it was just the feeling it gave me.
Yeah, well, that song's, I mean, that's a kind of an interesting one too, because in the verses, you know, I'm not really saying too much in terms of the number of words. So again, it's sort of, as a writer, it's fun and it's challenging and it's rewarding to sort of put those songs together. But again, it's sort of evaluating what you do with your time, evaluating whose opinions of what you're doing are really important. And I think if we all kind of like take a minute and reflect, you really want to be your own worst critic, because if you do that, then nothing that someone says can hurt you.
You told me once, Afie, about you have to believe in your ideas, referencing your songs. You have to believe in your ideas, often when no one else does. Does that still apply?
Of course, absolutely. It should always apply.
But haven't you proven yourself?
Well, sure, but am I done? Or should I stop now? Should
you ghost?
No, absolutely not. There's no greatest hits record coming from me anytime soon. You know, I'm interested in having a long career. And to do that, you always have to put yourself in positions where you're slightly uncomfortable, where you're slightly reaching. I think if you get comfortable, you know, that's not a very fruitful place to be. You want to be doing stuff that keeps you engaged, keeps you excited, and keeps you growing. And so for me, that's obviously I use music for that, and I try and work with people that are just a little bit out of my league all the time, so that I can, you know, always be having to run a little bit faster and work a little bit harder to keep up.
Teach that to your kids. That's
absolutely.
Good thing
absolutely.
to know. Keeping up with the Joneses. Is there a line in there that says, "So now I'm making all my records secondhand"?
Yeah. I mean, I just thought that was kind of a cool turn of phrase, you know. But sort of, you know, it's about this consumer culture that we live in, and you know, towards the end of the song, the narrator sort of realizes that, you know, actually, I think I'm okay with my life as it is. I don't have to have what everyone else has, you know, and sort of making my records secondhand is just sort of like a tongue-in-cheek way of saying that.
Was there any lessons learned? And I'm sure there were from Earth Tones, from the release of and the life that Earth Tones had.
I mean, for sure. I think I'm probably still digesting that, and I'm sure I'll hope to be sort of having revelations years from now about that period. I mean, that was a very, very intense period for me creatively, and also just, you know, professionally. I was like away from home a lot of traveling, and I do think sort of my career, which has thankfully had a fair bit of upward momentum the whole time, sort of seemed to go to another level, and you know, when you're in the middle of it all, it's hard to appreciate it because it's just work. It's just day in, day out. It's just, you know, I don't want to take the romance out of it, but there's portion of it that's just a job, and okay, I have all these things on the calendar to do. I just got to get up and do them. And so in a way, afterwards, when it's all done, you actually get to look back. And I'm not a terribly nostalgic person, but I do, you know, appreciate that some of those things were really special to me, whether they're musical or even just personal, being able to share that with my band and crew and the people in my life.
Do you get a better sense of who we are, the audience?
You know, the thing I realized, I actually played a show here in Halifax last summer, and I looked out in the crowd and I saw people that were 10 years old and I saw people that were 70 years old. And it dawned on me that by no design of my own, it seems like the audience that I have now is literally so diverse, and it's all ages, all types, you know, and maybe that may have been a sort of a hindrance to me in the beginning, because the business didn't quite know exactly, the industry wasn't quite sure what I was doing and how to market it and how to get it out there. But now that it's 5 albums in and 10 years deep or whatever, it's actually turned around to become an advantage. And you realize that this music is just wide open to people. And you know, even my manager, I'm playing drums with his son. He's 4 years old, and we're playing my tunes together. And it's just like, there's something really rewarding to that for me, you know? So I guess all I can say is I'm just grateful to be able to have that wide of an audience and to play to those people.
Watch this segue. All you're really asking for is a fair share, right?
That's a pretty good, you see that's your whole stock and trade here is these segues. I think you're nailing it. Sure. I think I've gotten my fair share and then some. Yeah. So, you know, if it all ended tomorrow for me, I think I've had a pretty good run, and I'd be happy to bag groceries or whatever from here on out. But I do enjoy it, and I plan on doing it for a long time.
Well done. By the way, I was going to make some sort of passing shot at Warner, but I'll leave that in the sure. You're on Universal in Canada, and then Brushfire around the world. Labelmates. Tell them about your Labelmates.
Well, and Brushfire is, I mean, I guess the most recognizable one would be Jack Johnson. And, you know, I met those guys basically 10 years ago now. They re-released my first album in the US and have released all my subsequent albums. And it's a really small team. There's 3 people that work there. And, you know, I really can't say anything bad about that relationship. They've been nothing but supportive. I'm in a luxurious position creatively where I literally do whatever I want. And they are very helpful in trying to find the best home for it and what's the best way to put it out. And, you know, they're just people that are interested in not just in music. You know, I think the label's involved with a lot of good initiatives, environmental initiatives and otherwise. And it's nice to sort of work with people who, you know, as cliche as it sounds, sort of take a more holistic approach. It's not necessarily all about being cool or, you know, making money, although those are nice too.
Sure.
But you know, it's like it does feel like a family.
You do actually reference, I wish I could tell you what songs they are because I can't read my own writing. You do reference about money to a certain extent, or just your life that you've created for yourself. And is it
sure.
Because there were days, as you've told me before, where you didn't know where that meal was coming from.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know if you know, I grew up pretty lean, and I don't say that to there's no pity. I'm not asking for any pity. I had a wonderful childhood. I had a bicycle. It was always a used bicycle, but you know, my friends had new bikes, and I kept up with them on the bike I had. I had an old fishing rod, and I even got an old guitar. When all my other friends got brand new Fender Strats, my mom found a way to get me a guitar. But we grew up lean. And, you know, in some ways it's one of those things where it's like, there is a lot that you can gain from that. And if nothing else, you know, you do sort of come away with a sense of gratitude for the things that you do have. And, you know, I am very fortunate in my life. And at the same time, I feel like I've worked pretty hard, and I'm interested in working hard. I enjoy it. I enjoy the work, you know, so I will never complain about, you know, playing too many shows or it's a choice, you know, and I want to do it. So I'm you know, more than grateful for how it's worked out and for the audience that I've built.
Can we talk about the Hot AC single?
Sure. I don't even know what that is.
No, neither do I. Okay. Trick to Happy.
Yes.
The truth of being happy is what you're basically presenting. But there's a line in there. There's 2 lines in there. What is the story of the hour? One man's privilege and his power. Does that speak to our current social political situation?
I think so. I'm not sure that I'm referencing any one direct situation, but I think we are pretty concerned with this issue right now, and I think in many cases for valid reasons. And then I think in some other cases we are perhaps inserting that into the situation where it doesn't belong, or where it's not an issue. And so I think, like any other subject, just navigating these things is so difficult. And I think that the whole song itself, again, is sort of talking about modernity. We've created a life for ourselves that's so easy. And of course there's challenges. Of course there's hard things in life.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think everyone would agree, we've never lived, it's the best time to be alive. We're living longer, we're healthier, there's more opportunities. The barrier, if you want to be a musician now, when I started, we recorded on tape. You needed a studio, you needed an engineer. I'm not even that old, but like, I still remember my first album. We had to buy tape. It was $300 a roll, and then we had to get an engineer and get a studio. It was expensive. You needed a label. You needed support. Now it's like the barrier to entry to just make things is so much lower, and I think that's a good thing. Can
I tell you my version of that?
Yes, please.
I did 6 interviews with Janis Joplin.
Okay.
And as soon as I finished and played it, I then used that same role to interview somebody else. I
Right.
over top of it.
Sure, and I did the same things with my masters. I still have 2-inch tapes somewhere in the house here that have 4 albums on top of the other. But I guess what I'm saying is I think there's a part of the technology that I'm in awe of and I have reverence for, and then there's a part of it that I'm sort of dubious of and I'm cautious of.
Yeah.
And I do think we're all in this position where we have to navigate that and how it fits into our life,
What was the most interesting track for you? Because I started to make this list of what I wanted to talk about, and then I put all the tracks in. They're all there.
Well, I think there's 2 songs that really stick out for me. One of them is "Half Your Love," which is just sort of I'm always trying to write the most straight ahead love songs I can. I think there's something just so beautiful about a real love song, and so I'm trying to.
If I could just have half the love.
Yeah. I just love how that one turned out. And we tried to record it with a band, but ultimately I just like that version that's just me with the guitar, and it really is just, you don't have to wonder what I'm talking about, And then the other one, sort of the opposite end, flip side of the coin, I guess, is "Less Than Love."
Yeah.
And that's sort of a warts and all song for me. I'm singing obviously about my marriage, and anybody that's been married for a while knows how beautiful it is, how hard it is, how rewarding it is, how challenging it is every day. And, just, I guess, while everyone else is busy posting beautiful pictures of themselves on the internet and showing the incredible avocado toast that they ate for lunch and how wonderful their life is, of course, part of my music is about showing the parts that are less than flattering. And I think they're kind of more interesting. So that song sort of touches on that.
I have to ask you some really important questions now.
Sure.
The best fly that you throw?
Black bear, green butt, and
Wow.
It's salmon season here. So, do you fish?
Oh God, my father was a game warden. I grew up with a rod in my hand. Do you throw floating line or sinking?
Both. I mean,
Okay.
Generally the salmon right now are taking them below the surface, but we need rain. We kind of thought this hurricane was going to help us out, but it turned out to be a big ball of nothing. So we're kind of hoping for rain the next few days, and then give us a couple weeks of fishing in October.
I see no fishing references in any of these songs.
I'm sort of saving it for when I go country. I'll talk about my F-150 and my fishing rod and everything when I make my country record.
We have that in common, my friend. And this is an incredible coastline I'm living on. The pinks are back by the thousands, and the guys are fishing the river mouth. It's a community.
Oh, I'd love to get out there. I've had friends who've told me wonderful stories of being out there, and of course I've been out there to play, and I miss it. It's beautiful.
Less Than Love, those harmonies that start, those tight harmonies, like they become your horn section.
Yes.
Call and response. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's funny you mentioned that, because I literally thought about having horns on that song. And then Felicity, who I've played with for many years now, she's sang on several of my albums and has toured with me a lot. Her voice is I don't even think of it like a voice. I think of it like another instrument, and the things that she's able to do with it is pretty incredible. And so, exactly like you're saying, I mean, I asked her to build it up, think of it like an arranged section, and let's build it up,
Nice.
Track by track by track. And so, she's just incredibly talented. I mean, anytime I can kind of get her on a song, I'm usually gunning to get her on there.
I asked B.B. King where his backup singers were. He said, no, the horns are the backup singer.
Right, right. Well, you know, there's a time for that too, you know. But you know, I think it's just that's just a sound that I've kind of grown to think about as part of my palette. You know, when I'm writing songs and I think, what would I like to hear on this? Her voice is usually at the top of the list.
What can you possibly explain? Rarely do I ask this question. What can you possibly explain about the sad hunk photo that's on the cover?
I'll tell you what. I can explain it very clearly. The mandate, my friend Heather, who does all my artwork, she's done all my art for years. She does my t-shirts and videos. She's an incredible artist in her own right, but she's done a lot of wonderful stuff for me. I told her, what I want to do for this album is I want the album cover to be like as if I signed a giant record deal in 1992.
Yeah.
And I showed her the cover of Nick of Time by Bonnie Raitt, and I showed her the cover of Vince Gill record. And, you know, I've been in photo shoots before where they bring a stylist in with a bunch of leather jackets and black jeans and everything. And I always come away just feeling like, who am I, you know? So the goal of this shoot was just to like hang out with my friends, drink a couple beers, and then bring my own clothes and just wear them. And you know, and it's nice to sort of just be smiling on the cover like that too, because I think there's something about the word hunk. I don't know if it's 2020, but you know, even the word hunk is kind of abrasive to some people. So it's nice to have a photo that sort of disarms, you know, if anybody thought I was a macho man or something, you see this photo and you know right away that it's sort of in jest, you know?
Tell people about Taco Tunes.
Yeah, Taco Tunes is just one of the many wonderful franchises that I'm developing on my YouTube channel. Now, I used to be a touring musician, as many of you know, not anymore. Now I'm a YouTuber.
Wait a minute. And, while I have you there, and we'll go back to Taco Tunes, that calendar on your right-hand side, are there any dates on that? No, the other side. The other side of you. You're right.
Oh.
Are there any dates on that?
Let me show you something, Terry. You mean this calendar, Dad's Chores?
Okay.
Let me check. Is there any dates on here? Let me see. What's going on in the month of January? No. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think I got another call coming in, Terry.
Okay, buddy.
I'm sorry we got cut short, but
Taco Tunes. Check it out, everybody. YouTube.
Yes,
thank you for this, and we'll wait for those live dates. Take care of yourself, and thank you for the music.
Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
Bless you.
Bye-bye.